Ready for medical career growth? Yes, you are in the right place. Hello, this is Dr. Neema Bish, BDS by degree and a pharma professional. As a founder of Career in Pharma, our mission is to guide medical professionals towards remarkable success in the pharma industry. With a track record of over 700 plus students trained and placed into various premier pharma companies, we are here to elevate your journey. Once again, I welcome you all to Career in Pharma. Now, in today's video, we will understand what exactly is timelines in pharmacovigilance. So, timeline का मतलब क्या होता है? Timeline मतलब भाई हमारे पास एक लिमिट है किसी चीज को पूरा करने के, that is the timeline. Deadline, you can say, right? So, there is a timeline ऑफ सबमिटिंग योर वर्क. जो भी आप जॉब करते हैं उसमें एक टाइमलाइन होती है, हर चीज की एक टाइमलाइन होती है, राइट? देयर शुड बी सम डेडलाइन टू फिनिश दैट वर्क. सिमिलरली वी हैव अ कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ टाइमलाइन इन फार्माकोविजिलेंस. सो केवल फार्माकोविजिलेंस में टाइमलाइन नहीं होता, एंटायर फार्मा इंडस्ट्री में ऑल्सो देयर इज अ डेडलाइन टाइमलाइन. So I am not going to talk about clinical trials का timeline. I am going to talk about the timelines which we are using in pharmacovigilance. उसमें भी in pharmacovigilance also I am going to talk about the timeline which we have to submit the ICSR, that is individual case safety reports. Okay, so we have something called individual case safety reports where we get a single patient report in every data. In every case we get a single patient report, so there is some timeline to submit those reports to regulatory authority bodies. So whatever work we are doing, whatever SAE we gets in clinical trial, उसका भी एक timeline होता है कि उतने दिनों के अंदर that report should go to regulatory authority body also of that specific country, जहाँ पे उनको हमें inform करना होता है. They should also be informed. Similarly, we have in pharmacovigilance, we have ICSR, case processing timelines, and there are different kind of timelines also that we will understand. Before I will tell you what are the different timelines in pharmacovigilance for individual case safety report submission, I want to tell you one thing, that is the difference between the business and calendar days, because that's how you will be able to understand the timeline also. Because हम टाइमलाइन में जब भी बात करते हैं ना, हम बोलते हैं कि कुछ हम बोलते हैं कि 15 कैलेंडर डेज में सबमिट हो जाना चाहिए, हम बोलते हैं 7 कैलेंडर डेज में सबमिट हो जाना चाहिए. कुछ टाइमलाइंस होती हैं पूरे ऑपरेशंस में जिसमें वी से बिजनेस डेज आल्सो. इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज बिजनेस डेज, व्हाट इज कैलेंडर डेज. तो इट इज वेरी इजी. कैलेंडर मीन्स जैसे कि कैलेंडर चलता है, मान लो if someone is saying ki within 7 calendar days you have to submit it whatever work we have assigned to you, it means agar beech mein Saturday Sunday ya koi holiday bhi aayega, that we are not going to consider, that also we are going to count in those days, that is calendar days. So for example, agar mujhe koi kaam Wednesday ko mila, okay, for example, एंड उसका टाइमलाइन है कि नेक्स्ट वेडनेसडे सबमिट हो जाना चाहिए, तो दिस वेडनेसडे टू नेक्स्ट वेडनेसडे, इफ आई टॉक अबाउट कैलेंडर डेज, विल बी 7 कैलेंडर डेज, 7 डेज आएंगे, राइट? सो इफ एनीवन गिविंग मी दैट वर्क, दे विल से दैट यू हैव टू सबमिट इट इन 7 कैलेंडर डेज. तो वो ऑफ डे, हॉलीडे या सैटरडे संडे को कंसिडर नहीं कर रहे, वो भी उन दिनों भी आपको काम करना पड़ सकता है डिपेंडिंग ऑन द complexity of the task assigned to you. So that we call as 7 calendar days. Now what is business days? Business days is nothing, it is the working days. Let's say I have an organization who is closed on Saturday Sunday, and if any work is coming on Thursday, so as per that work, if the requirement is that within 7 business days it should be submitted, the timeline is 7 business days, in that case if we are saying business days, तो हम सैटरडे संडे कंसिडर नहीं करेंगे. देन अवर लेट्स से अवर डे स्टार्ट्स ऑन थर्सडे, दैट विल बी डे 1, सो डे 1 बिजनेस डे. फ्राइडे विल बी डे 2, then day 3 business day will be Monday, not Saturday, Sunday, because our working days are not Saturday, Sunday. That is business days. I hope business day and calendar day concept is clear to you. Now next I move to what is the timeline for ICSR case submission in pharmacovigilance. So we have different type of cases, right? We have adverse event where the adverse event is serious. We have adverse event where the criteria, all the 5 criteria is not present, then we call that adverse event as a non-serious. Even in serious adverse event, there are 2 criteria where we call the adverse event as a life-threatening or fatal, right? If the death of the patient has occurred. So based on that, the timeline is also divided. So if our serious adverse event is meeting the first 2 criteria, that is, if because of the adverse event patient is died or is there in any fatal condition, in that case the timeline is 7 calendar days to file the ICSR to regulatory authority. Okay, please keep this thing in mind. अगर adverse event, अगर वो serious adverse event fatal है या life threatening है, fatal है या life threatening means patient died, life threatening means ऐसी कोई condition अगर उसको intervention नहीं मिलता तो patient could have died. So in those scenario, the regulatory the timeline for submission ICSR is 7 calendar days. 7 calendar days, not business days, calendar days. Okay. अगर वो adverse event, अगर वो serious adverse event life threatening या fatal नहीं है, उसके अलावा कुछ भी है, means congenital anomaly, leading to some disability, all other criteria apart from death and life threatening or hospitalization, in that case the timeline to submit that ICSR is to regulatory authority body is 15 calendar days, right? So serious में 2 सब division है. एक तो है अगर patient died or if that adverse event was fatal, then 7 calendar days. If other than this, any other criteria for that adverse event, it should be serious, then 15 calendar days. And if the adverse event is not serious at all, if the adverse event is non-serious, then the submission, the timeline to submit to regulatory authority is 90 calendar days. Okay, so this is the timeline to submit to regulatory authority bodies. Okay. Now इसके बाद मैं आपको एक और चीज समझाना चाहूंगी. What are the different type of timelines inside pharmacovigilance as well as other clinical trials? So we have something called regulatory timeline. We have internal timeline. Okay. Regulatory timeline क्या होती है कि उतने दिनों में हमें उसको regulatory authority body को submit करना होता है. Internal timeline क्या होती है? Based on the client, based on the project, we have some internal SOP. Based on that, we have internal timelines. Why we have there is a requirement of internal timeline so that we should not miss the regulatory timeline. So we always submit the cases inside pharmacovigilance. We always submit the ICSR as per our internal timelines. इसलिए so that in worst case scenario also the case should not miss the regulatory timeline. Because if we are missing the timeline, escalation happens. Okay, तो पहले स्टेप में तो हमें इंटरनल टाइमलाइंस भी मिस नहीं करनी है. बट लेट्स से अगर केस ही हमारे पास लेट आया जहां पे उसने इंटरनल टाइमलाइन मिस कर दी, then we have to ensure that we don't have to miss the regulatory timeline. That's why there is a requirement of internal timeline as well. Other than this, why there is a requirement of internal timeline is because to process any ICSR and to submit it to regulatory authority body, intake से लेके submission तक we have 4-5 steps. So there is a team who take the cases. Then there is a team who do triage, means who classify the case into serious and non-serious. Then we have a team who do data entry. Then there is a team who process and writes the narrative. Then there is a team who do medical review. So that's why there are 4-5 steps. So that is very important to have this internal timeline, because every step में उसको होके जाना है, तो chances are very high that we may miss the timeline. That's why there is an internal timeline also. So to keep a check on regulatory timeline. Yes, so these are the timelines inside pharmacovigilance ICSR case processing. One is internal, one is regulatory. Now last in this is, what is the importance of timeline? Timeline की जरूरत क्या है? First of all, because it is a regulatory requirement to submit these ICSR to regulatory authority. Yes. First thing is, it is a regulatory requirement. It is mandated by regulatory authority body. Okay. So that once the drug is in market, in pharmacovigilance phase also, we can keep a check on a drug. And in pharmacovigilance phase also, अगर किसी medicine के साथ कोई serious side effects आ रहे हैं, serious adverse events आ रहे हैं, so the pharma company can take a proper action, the regulatory authority bodies can take a proper action on that, and so that we can keep a check on patient safety. कुछ patients, let's say serious side effects उनको हो गया, तो हम बाकी लोगों को safe रख सके, इसलिए timeline is important. Other than this, timelines is also important so that we can have a check on our work. We can have a deadline. That's why timeline is very important. Because अगर late submissions हो रहे हैं, late reports आ रही हैं, so we will not be able to control it, right? Let's say if any adverse event is very serious and it is happening because of the drug. For example, let's say कार्डियक स्ट्रोक हो रहे हैं पेशेंट्स में और वो लेट से मेडिसिन की वजह से ही हो रहे हैं. अगर लेट सबमिशन हो रही है, लेट रिपोर्ट्स आ रही हैं, तो हमें लेट पता चल रहा है. हमें लेट पता चल रहा है तो रेगुलेटरी अथॉरिटी बॉडीज को लेट पता चल रहा है. एंड इफ everyone is getting this information late, then definitely at the end more and more people, more and more patients can suffer from that adverse event. So to have a check on that, to minimize that risk, to minimize that side effect, that adverse event, this timeline is there in place. Yes, that is why it is very important to have this timeline. Yes. So that's all about this video where I have discussed what is timeline in pharmacovigilance for ICSR submission, what is the difference between business days, calendar days, what is the actual timeline for serious and non-serious cases, what is different type of timelines, and last is why timeline is important. So I hope you like this video. I hope you got clarity on timelines in pharmacovigilance. Yes. And if you really like content, if you really understood this concept, please don't forget to hit a like button. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more and more really knowledgeable information like this. Yes. So we'll be coming soon with some fresh next video. Till the time I come again, till that time, please stay safe, aware, healthy, updated, and keep exploring new things. Have a nice day.